Hey, what's up? I'm going to give you an overview of my epic 112-mile journey climbing up and over two mountains here in the Bay Area. I had an opportunity to go on a massive group ride that climbed up Mount Diablo. That's a mountain that is east of the Berkeley, Oakland area of the Bay. Then we transitioned 72 miles south to climb Mount Hamilton. The summit of Mount Ham is 26 miles east of San Jose in the southern part of the Bay Area. So the ride was hosted by the Rapha Cycling Club out of San Francisco, led by Lisa Charlebois. Hope I pronounced that correctly. And you should check out her IG profile. She does some really cool rides. I'll post all of this ride's details in the video description along with her profile. But the name of the ride is the Hamilton Diablo Double Shot, or the Rapha Day in Hell ride. I think Rapha Day in Hell is probably more appropriate for this particular ride. This is not for the squeamish, and you definitely need to be in more than decent shape to do this. And as far as I know, this is the third time I believe this has been put on. I think each year has been a lot smaller than this particular turnout, which was huge. But this is my first time joining this ride, and really had a great time. There were a lot of people that showed up. I believe there was over 120 riders, but not everyone continued on to climb both mountains. We lost many people after climbing the first mountain, which was Mount Diablo. So the total mileage of the journey is approximately 118 miles from start to finish. And if you completed the entire journey, you'll crawl away with 11,000 feet of climbing elevation. So it goes what I was saying, this was a massive day for me.
Yeah.
Here in the Bay Area, when the weather conditions are just right, some of our local mountains will get some snow. A few days prior to this ride, Mount Diablo and Mount Hamilton got a good amount of snow, but this is not common, so it was pretty cool to be able to ride amongst the snow-capped hills. This is the last 500 meters or so to get to the very top, but this is very steep. So this last little segment averages around 12 to 14%. And you could see that the camera is swaying side to side because I'm standing up out of the saddle. But this is not everyone's favorite. After climbing for however long it took you to get up here, only to get confronted by this thing, usually catches a lot of people off guard for the first time, and even folks that are used to riding Mount Diablo, this is not their favorite segment. But at least you know the end is near. So funny enough, this guy in front of me, his name is Den. I actually met him later on in the day on the final climb going up Mount Hamilton. So it was him and a lady that I know, Martina, who's in a couple of my cycling groups. I caught up to them on the climb way later in the day, but they were really cool. So it was interesting to look back at the footage and see that I had first passed him going up the steep segment on top of Mount Diablo. top of Mount Diablo is always super busy with hikers and tourists. People like to drive up here just to look out at the views, and then of course cyclists. We're always out and about. But yeah, made it to the parking lot. There's the Rapha crew with some snacks and goodies for all the folks that are attending the ride. And there's also a few of my buddies that are already up here that have just been kind of hanging out for a while. So it's a nice way to take a break and get ready to push off to the next part of the adventure.
Come on.
So you probably noticed a bunch of people descending past me pretty fast. A year ago, that would not have happened as easy. I've always been a fast descender. However, I've crashed here on Mount Diablo 3 times, and 2 of those crashes happened late last year on the same day. I crashed up near the top of the mountain, did a quick bike check, and proceeded down the hill. But what I didn't realize was that there was something going on with my rear tire. And soon as I got down here in the neighborhood, which is the end of Mount Diablo, my tire gave way, and now I'm riding at high speed into the final corner and into incoming traffic. So I was going head on with the minivan and dodged the minivan, went straight on to that tree trunk that's down over there and went over my bars. Luckily that area on the other side is pretty soft, but needless to say, I got absolutely smoked here twice in one day, 3 times total. So when it comes to descending on Mount Diablo, I take no chances. I go slow. The road rash that I got from this place was unlike anything I've ever experienced before. So lesson learned. I've made it down from Mount Diablo in one piece, thank God. So now I am just settling into a roughly 55-mile ride over to the eastern side of the Mount Hamilton climb. I will be going through just a few small towns, so mostly just going over suburban roads, and then there's going to be some country roads that I have to travel. It's a real beautiful ride this time of year. Everything is nice and green.
All right, quick check-in. I'm on Mines Road, which is just above Livermore, just past the town of Livermore, and making my way to the east side of Mount Hamilton. I think I still have about 40 miles to go, but the weather is nice and beautiful here. It was freezing on the top of Mount Diablo, but hate to say it, but off in the distance I'm seeing dark clouds, so it's probably super cold at the top of Mount Hamilton, and I am not looking forward to a really steep climb to get up to the Lick Mill Observatory, or excuse me, the Lick Observatory. But yeah, it looks not great off in the distance. Not looking so sweet out there, but beautiful here. Not much road traffic, and I'm really enjoying this route so far. All right, finally, I'm at the base of the final big climb. So here we go. My legs are tired, but there was a SAG crew. The Rapha San Francisco SAG folks were just behind me with some snacks that were woefully needed. So I got a sparkling water in me and some snacks. And yeah. Now it's time to grind for 5 miles, 10% grade. Here we go. Finally starting the final ascent up to the Lick Observatory on the top of Mount Hamilton. Oh, hope I can make it. 5.5 miles to the top. 8% average gradient. I'm tired.
I had been grinding on this climb for a little less than 2 miles when I caught up to some other riders. I have spent most of the day riding by myself, mostly with no music, up until maybe a few miles ago when I got desperate and started playing some aggressive drum and bass music on my cell phone. But it just happened that I knew one of the riders. Her name is Martina, and then I met the other rider whose name is Den. Coincidentally, I had passed him on Mount Diablo hours ago, so it was good to catch back up to him and get to meet him. Good conversations to be had, but finally having some good company as we completed the last few miles of this epic day came in at a perfect time. So it was greatly appreciated because the backside of Mount Hamilton, although shorter than the front side, it is much steeper. This is the end of the journey. We're finally at the summit of Mount Hamilton, and it's always really cool to come up here and see all of the observatories. Also, it's pretty neat to still see some of the snow left over from the recent storms. This is not typical. Mount Ham does get snow, but the conditions have to be right. There are a number of years where it probably sees no snow at all, but yeah, it was really cool to come up here and ride on the snow-capped Mount Ham. And then also I'm really happy that we made it before sundown. Now I've got to jam down from the top and make it up and over a couple of the foothills into San Jose before the sun sets completely, since I have no front light. The descent coming down from Mount Ham was probably the most frigid conditions I've ever experienced. My feet and hands were ice blocks. but at least I finished the ride, so I'm happy. This was a huge challenge for me, not so much on the distance. I've rode in a handful of centuries, so the distance was one thing, but the elevation, the climbing elevation, by far, this was the most that I've done in one shot. So I've walked away from this with just a tiny bit over 11,000 feet of climbing. Pumped about that, and that also sets me up nicely for a few events that I've got coming up soon on the horizon. So ultimately, this was yet again another really cool adventure for the record books for me, and looking forward to knocking out some other challenges.